Hey, what's up, guys? This is Temple Storm Ratsmah, and I'm here to talk to you about some arena stuff. And I'm just going to talk to you casually about what I think about Warlock in the arena, like how you should play it, and what it's good against, bad against, key cards, bad cards, stuff like that. So here, a pretty easy implosion pick. Fel Cannon is a card that generally does not do that well in Warlock, just because there are classes that you should keep in mind that get board control very easily, and Warlock is one of them. With Flame Imps and a bunch of like cheap minions that you can draft, especially with your hero power, you're more likely to draft a lighter deck. It's very easy for Warlock to be ahead on board, so Fel Cannon generally will set you back and target your own guys more than help you out with the card effect. And I'm always keeping in mind that there is a conversion, like a mana to card conversion built in Warlock with the hero power. So cards like Gnomish Inventor, if you imagine that, it's a 4 mana 2/4. If you take out the card draw part, which you can replace with your hero power, it's a 2 mana 2 mana 2/4, 2 mana 2/4. The problem is with that card, it doesn't sound bad, but it's not a 2 mana 2/4 that you can play on turn 2. It's one that you play on turn 4, and it just gets destroyed by a lot of 4 drops very easily. Like Yeti and Pud Shredder will deal with it really easily, so it's a big problem. And it tends to just give out value for free. Generally not a very good card. Here, I'll take the Spectral Knight. Generally, we want a real low curve, but Spectral Knight, it's nice to have a couple of big guys to try to survive Flame Strikes and whatnot. Easy 2-drop. I'm going to really value 2-drops and pick up a lot of 2s and 3s. Just value the early game. Hellfire, I think the first AoE you get as Warlock is very useful. People tend to play less around AoE when playing against Warlock. I'm not exactly sure why, but it tends to be very easy to get like Hellfire or Shadow Flame value. Here, Young Priest is an easy pick. You don't really need to give your opponent's card draw, because one of the most powerful positions you can be in as Warlock is being in top deck mode against your opponent, because at that point you're the one drawing 2 cards a turn, and your opponent is just drawing 1, and it's very easy to win from that position. That's kind of the like late game position you want to be in as Warlock. And we'll just take the 1-drop that I can play easily. And I generally don't like drafting anything bigger than 6. Like 6 drops, I would really only draft like Boulder Fist Ogres or Sunwalkers, just because it's generally better to play more like card efficient cards. Like cards like Abusive are very efficient. It's just a waste of a card sometimes. But cards like that do really well in Warlock, just because you can utilize the effect and not worry about the card disadvantage because you are Warlock. So a lot of emphasis on the hero power. Jhin versus Fel Reaver. The deck doesn't really have an identity yet, but we do have like some removal. Looks like it can go control, but it also probably could still be more of a fast Zooey Warlock deck. I'm going to I'll take the Jhin just to be safe, because if it is a control Warlock deck, we don't really want to be discarding our deck, since it's more likely that we'll go through more cards as Warlock. Here, I'll take Evil Heckler just for the stats. Shadow Bolt seems obvious. Saboteur. Right now, I'm just going off like any basic tier list, or like tiering that most people do have. Here, Succubus for Storm Warrior. So you never want to detempo as Warlock, is the point I was trying to make with Gnomish Inventor. And if we pick Torn Warrior, the problem is that it dies to a lot of 3-drops for free, like Scarlet, Spider Tank, Ogre Brood, whatever it may be. It just is not a very good play on 3. Another thing to consider is that small taunts do really well in Warlock, just because if you can save a lot of your health, that opens up more time for you to tap and draw more cards. But here, I think I'm okay with the Succubus pick. I'm going to try harder not to detempo than worry about our cards too much. Dark Scale Healer seems like the obvious pick. I don't really like Antique, it's just really bad stats on the card. Don't think we ever need that much face heal. And generally, you gotta think about the board as, like, if you put enough into the board, enough mana into the board by stats, right? You generally won't take that much base damage because you'll be trading on the board. But if you do play things like Antique Healbot and No Mission, you know, all these slow cards, then eventually your opponent will have board control and they'll start hitting on your face. And that is when you would need Antique Healbot. But, you know, you can just kind of avoid that if you carve out properly and just have powerful cards to be played, or like play powerful cards every turn. Here, easy Shaded Axe, Twisting Nether, a little bit too slow. Any card that doesn't really like help you develop and takes up your entire turn is not that good. This is why sometimes Flame Strike is bad, but at least with Flame Strike you can come back, and Mage generally has a lot more comeback mechanisms than removal. So Flame Strike is more of a stalling play, and stalling plays don't work as well on Warlock. Here, Dread Infernal, pretty easy pick. Still just going by stats. I don't mind Voidwalker, but I think we definitely need more 4-drops. We only have 1 4 minion right now. Ascension versus Ooze. We have 2 2-drops. I'll take the Ooze. Mana Wraith, Ancient Mage. We have 4 spells, 5 spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think the Ancient Mage is bad. I haven't gotten to experiment with Void Crusher, but I imagine that you can hit like implosions and game bosses and whatnot. We don't really have that many things that we can really like throw into the Inspire effect of the Void Crusher. Go with the Ancient Mage. Cult Master seems pretty obvious here. The other two are kind of bad. Twilight Drake, Tiny Knight of Evil. Go with the Tiny Knight. Want to make sure my 2 slot is covered. I'm a little bit worried because we don't have any 2-mana 2/3s. We have a 4/3, but it's not quite the same. I think Succubus is more of like a mid-late game play if we can just try to play it without discarding a card. Mad Bomber is fine. So once again, too many 2-mana 3/2s. This kind of like gives us some information on what our bad matchup's going to be. And it's probably going to be Paladin. Like any shield and mini is going to ruin our start. And then we're going to have to recover in the mid-late game. And recovering against Paladin in the mid-game is extremely difficult because that's where Paladin has all their class cards. So just keep that in mind. Maiden Lake, I'll take it over Drain Life. Drain Life's a bit too slow. And once again, any slow play gets punished since you're wasting more mana than you need to. And mana is cards in Warlock, so... Yeti seems pretty obvious. Shadow Bolt for Spiteful Smith. So we have 4 5-drops, 5 late game cards. Don't want another 5, especially when it's like very similar statted with all the rest. This is a 4-4-2-2, 4-6, 4-6, 4-5. I think we're better off with just a Shadow Bolt. Reckless Rocketeer. We don't have any charge. We don't have that much direct damage either. We have Drain Light, Dark Bomb for direct damage. I think it would benefit us to have some just like a finisher. So I'll take it. Ogre Magi versus Dragonkin. I'm actually considering like spell damage to be pretty good just because of all our spells. We did just pick up another Shadow Bolt. Generally, 5 health, 4 drops are really important, just because it plays around a lot of spells and a lot of opponents' 4 drops will do 4 damage. So I don't want Ogre Magi to get killed by a Yeti for free, because that is a difficult position to recover from. So we end up with 3, 4, 5, 6 late game cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 drops. I'm not counting the Cult Master. 1, 2, 3. 3 plays on 3, but a lot of removal plays on 3, so I think we're okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 drops and 2 1-drops. We definitely have a kind of an odd deck. We don't have a single 2-mana 2/3, so we gotta try to be careful around Paladins. There's not really a recovery card. Usually, like recovery cards around like having bad 2-drops would be having really good 3-drops, um, like Spider Tanks or Scarlet Crusaders or Harvest Golems, but we don't really have that either. So, like all in all, like this deck isn't very good. Like Warlock kind of rides the quality of the early game and mid game minions, and our quality just isn't there. But there is such a thing as like winning just because you are Warlock. If we can get our opponent to keep trading, or if our opponents, you know, don't keep in mind that they don't want to go take too many 1-for-1s against Warlock just because our hero power is so powerful in the late game. If they just, you know, give us time to set up our taps, then we should be fine. Yeah, that's pretty much the only weakness though. Just minion card quality. We do have like a diverse, you know, diverse arsenal of spells to use. Don't really like bombing on my own guy. I think I'll just tap. We do have 2 1-drops. I think could also have a chance to draw into a 1-drop, which would help us curve out perfectly. But whenever I have a bomber in my hand, I like to play a little bit reactively, try to like fall behind on board a little bit. Okay. Like the first impulse might be to just bomber, but we don't really have a follow-up to bomber on this turn. And keeping in mind that priest is very board controlling, and if you allow them to be ahead on board, you will get punished since they will start healing, and it'll be hard to. You're going to be expending a lot of cards and also a lot of your mana to deal with their minions. So I'm just going to go for the high tempo play. This does get punished by things like Balance, but there's not too much flexibility we have right now. I do want a bomber here. We can follow it up with Saboteur or even Shadow Bolt. That's interesting. Good here. Alright, so that's pretty unlucky. Yeah, we'll just Saboteur, hit face. The problem is, like, whenever you do something like this, then you know your opponent's gonna get value. Like, you'd rather play something that would get value off back, but this kind of just trades down with the 3/3, which isn't good. But there's really no alternative play, so we just got a little bit unlucky there. I had to hit this once or not hit this once, and then this would be at 4 health. It would take 2 hits, but ended up not hitting his guy once and hitting our guy once, so got really unlucky. Generally, Warlocks do have a good matchup against Priests though, just because they don't have very good good AoE removal. Like, all you can expect is like Excavated Evil or Holy Nova, and Warlocks tend to be pretty swarmy. And you're not going to be like worried about them using 1 Shadow Word Pain or 1 Shadow Word Death. Only way we can really use our mana is like this, and this also makes a difference between this 6 and this big guy and this big guy. We get to trade out the 4/4 with the help of the Battle Cry, so now he can't take it out, but this does leave us vulnerable to Shadow Word Death. Tomb isn't as bad since he has to use his entire turn for it, so you can think about it as like he traded his turn 6 for our turn 6, and then it's like pretty okay that he did that. I'll just do this. Don't see any other play. Don't think we need a Hellfire yet. Plus we can't develop anything with Hellfire. It's always like a combination of like you know, you want to remove a threat and then develop your own threat, you know? Gotta keep building, like stacking like on top of that on top of each other, and whoever stops doing that, whoever just uses an entire turn to remove, will generally fall behind. That's what you saw with the Entomb play. He Entombed, but on the turn prior we took out a 4/4, so we upped our tempo the turn prior a little bit, and then he kind of just traded turn for turn, and then, you know, on this turn we're coming up more ahead than we were on the last turn. This isn't an easy turn. I don't like that this guy, the Holy Champion, being alive. Could do something like Shadow Bolt Hellfire. Seems crazy though. I'll go for it. I think it's big enough threat. Just gonna bop in. Just so if he buffs it up, and this is what you should always be thinking about. If something is like barely not killing one of your guys, like imagine this being a 2/5, right? And we didn't pop it in, there's a 4/3. Like you could Shattered Sun it, you could Defender Vargas it, you could even Abuse it or Dark Iron Dwarf, or even Felons, and then dies in one hit. But now if he uses those things, they trade. So it's kind of a small hedge that you're taking against buffs. And I wouldn't say that we have a read that you didn't have like someone like Holy Nova. I think it's hard to say exactly what's in his hand, but if he had very powerful like minions to play, they would have been stacked up, but doesn't seem like the case. Okay. Do this. So slowly we're just regaining the board. And that's all you gotta worry about is with Warlock. Like almost every kind of Warlock deck, you want to just make sure you're using every mana to develop the board. And then when you do come into the end game, just, you know, tap a lot. Which is pretty much why it's like Zoo Lock in Constructed works so well. It's just very mana efficient. And it just like keeps bringing on threats. So we can't really play mana efficient this turn unless we tap. And instead of like trying to like out tempo a little bit by playing a 3/3 instead of a 3/2, I'm gonna just tap and draw the card now since we are getting low on cards. 2/6 is my first impulse. And I believe it's correct. Just gonna take this out. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just protecting like potential face damage. Like I don't want him to be able to hit face, just because that's pretty much our late game. So you have 8, 11, 6 off. He has 5, 6, 7. So here we could tap, but we can play our entire hand out. So I'm just gonna do that, and it looks like the game is pretty close to coming to a finish here. And here I kind of even want to drain Life of Space. I'll do it. I think we're like kind of close to dying, but also he's like so close, but he's also Priest. He can make some plays to come back. So I'm just gonna push his health down and kind of heal ours back up a little bit. Holy Nova would be bop bop bop. Holy Nova would be a 6, would be 4 or 2 off. Oh god, plays. Ooh, almost. We have perfect lethal after he heals his face. That was almost a sick play. I guess it's pretty cool, but alright, BM tap, you always BM tap. And We're just gonna play a couple. I might play like 2 or so more. But you generally, like, you always got to keep in mind like what class you're playing in your win condition, and then if you keep in mind your opponent's class and their win condition, you'll probably do a lot better if you aren't focusing on those things, because those do that does come in a big part. It does come in pretty big when you end up playing. It changes the style you play in. Like if you didn't know what class your opponent was playing, you'd play completely differently. Oh, another priest, fun. Once again, we just want to keep him off the board. Like a priest that's off the board, generally will just lose. Especially, and this is why priests are weak in the meta. You just get them off the board early, and then they can't really make a comeback with their class cards. I don't mind this matchup. I mean, one of the ways that priest does get on board is dark cultist. That's usually like the class card that makes the biggest effect in the early game, as long as you don't get rushed down by like 1-drops and balance. And being a class with Shadow Bolt, I think we'll be okay. If I did get Shadow Bolt to my opening hand, I'd probably just keep it against priest, just because it does so well against the like first card that, you know, gets the priest foot in the door. Okay. So Warlock versus Priest almost always ends up as a card advantage war. I think this is like one of the matchups that's most likely to end up that way. I'll tap, and also not even like attack with this, just to show like it's not very important to get the face damage in, because our win condition is not face damage. And plus, gotta think in a way where it's like, oh, if I don't attack, then he can't use something like Holy Smite, or he can't use something like Coin Ironforge, or like anything he might have. Okay. I think it's worth taking a risk here. Very likely to hit. Even if it does miss, he can heal it up to 3, which is the attack on Bomber. So he's not going to heal it. Always got to keep in mind that, like, if a Paladin coins out a 4-drop, like coins out a Yeti, that their follow-up might be Blessing of Kings, then if you remove that Yeti, they might not be able to use that follow-up. And it's kind of what's happening here. It looks like he coined this out for another 3-play, maybe Valence, but he wasn't able to use it because we removed it. And now he's detempoing here and playing a 2-drop instead. So he pretty much just coined out a 2-drop on turn 2, if you think about it the other way around. Okay, I'm just gonna play the biggest drop we can. Just want to maximize reach. Like on empty board, you should be maximizing reach. Maximize reach, and as long as it's not too weak against enemy AoE. Here, I don't see us being vulnerable against anything really. So, maximize reach just so we can just keep clearing the board. Surprised he didn't play that last turn. Pretty odd. And yeah, we'll just keep taking it out. We've yet to find like a really good trade, and since you can kind of identify the Warlock deck as being, you know, you have like really powerful minions that get 2-for-1s, or you get a lower curve deck with things like Power Overwhelming, Abusive, Dark Irons, which trades up and gets you a tempo advantage. It's one or the other, and this one doesn't really have either one, which is why I say it's kind of a weak deck. This deck is just good for its flexibility, and I think like the better you are, the better you will end up doing with this deck. You just can deal with a lot of diverse situations. Okay. Get a cheap tap here. I think I'll go for the tap in Dread Infernal. See, now that makes me want to avoid color. I'll avoid color. I'm gonna change up our plan a little bit. Once again, still not weak to anything. I do this a little bit faster. I don't, just because I played so much, I don't have to like think about like every single priest card that I'm playing into or not playing into. Just kind of just used to it. You should always like be like considering like what is better against, you know, like Shadow Word Death, what is better against Holy Nova. Doesn't want to pop it. Could take that out. I think I'd rather just let it survive for a turn. It's not really a threat. This also saves removal. Generally, you don't want to use removal on things that don't threaten your board. Like a 1/2 isn't killing anything. If anything, it's like a heal. So you're using removal. Let's say that this is a heal, right? Because it pretty much is. You're pretty much using removal as face damage. And that's not really, doesn't really make sense if you think about it that way. Because you don't generally, you know, just frostbolt someone's face or, you know, dark bomb someone's face and you're not going for the kill. So here he has 3 mana. Just looking if he'll use Shadow or Death or not. If he doesn't, he doesn't have it. Okay, so he doesn't have it. Okay, we're getting really low, close to lethal. 10, 15. I'll tap here. Okay, so this is a free kill. Kill that. This one actually threatens our guys. So I'll do that. And then pretty easy game. Never want to stress about like small points of damage like the Worgen Infiltrator. Generally it's just better to like move counter play. Kim Cakes, thank you for the resub. Welcome back. Appreciate the 3 years, Kim. Yeah, I am I am streaming right now. Just gonna play a couple more games here. Really want to play against like a good class against Warlock. Is generally a class that controls the board very well in the early mid game. So like Rogue does really well against Warlock. Paladin does really well. Warlock has a surprising edge on Mage though, just because Warlocks generally have like not this one so much, but will generally rush a Mage down before they can set up any AoE. So we have a bad matchup here. This is what I wanted to kind of play out and talk about. So like I always say like Priest is similar to Paladin. It is, and it really depends on if he's like how many buffs he has, right? Because that's kind of what the similar part is. But like being able to like work off the current board and buff up the board like Priest is a pretty big threat. And if we don't get the early game board control, then we will kind of suffer in the mid game because that's when the buffs tend to have an effect.
Reporting for duty.
Okay, I'm gonna hit in. If it's Noble Sack, it'll, you know, these two trade anyway, so it doesn't matter. Just gives us a little bit more information. I'll just play the Ooze. I'm not too worried about defending like a True Sub or anything. It's pretty bad to miss your 2-drop in this this matchup.
Reporting for duty.
Okay. And I think we can quit out for. I think it's fine. It challenges his board, and this is why everyone hates Paladin. It's really hard to come back from this. Like this gives him a lot of different options to use buffs, and you know, even use like something like a Hammer of Wrath. I could win a Hammer of Wrath, and you just hit it, and you'd still be ahead on board. This will test it. Most likely Avenge, but this is better against Redemption and Avenge. And this Noble Sack doesn't really matter what we had. It is more mana efficient to Tiny Knight and tap. It's a little bit faster than Amber Cobra, kills one more 1/1. I think I'll go for the tap. We do have Hellfire, and that could make us come back. But if we didn't have, oh there it is. So if we didn't have like any AoE options, then it'd be pretty useless to tap, because your only way to get back on board would be to just like add stats to the board, and you're denying yourself of that by tapping and not playing the Amber Cobra. This guy's pretty annoying. Let's play this, we'll see what he does. If he goes for the trade, you have good Hellfire. He can at most play a 3-drop here. Okay. So we got a good Hellfire turn. And we're just gonna grab the board back.
Reporting for duty.
He's almost, like, I'm keeping my eye on his cards. He's almost out of cards. If we can get him to top deck, then we'll probably be likely to win. So that means that we should be templing out effectively, as best as we can.
None may steal our souls.
We're gonna tap here no matter what, because we can't play 6-9, and we can only do 3-3 if we're gonna do 3-3 and tap. We'll see what we draw first. So here, instead of playing 4, we definitely want to go for a 6 play. It's either Reckless Rocketeer or Saboteur. I think Saboteur is fine. He's out of cards, and we don't really want to deal with any more 1/1s. So this will probably deny 1/1. And get to deal with these big threats. Not going to trade either. This is a little bit weaker against Argent Protector, while the Reckless Rocketeer play doesn't leave him a trade with Argent Protector, since we'll have 2 1/1s out. But I would say he had some pretty good chances. Like on the Jungle Panther turn, he could have played Argent Protector to save some health in the Ventrico. I'd say that we have a pretty good read that he doesn't have then. Okay, just want to play on curve again, 4-4. Not only to say that he doesn't have Consecration either. Well, I guess he could if his plan was to summon Vigil. I guess he could. But I think it's very likely that the left 2 cards are not Consecration. And this is just like what you should always be doing. You should always be trying to read the cards, and like you can even read like minion cards, like minion cost cards. Like if he skips a certain amount of mana, you can tell that it's not that mana type or mana cost minion. Like here, for example, like it's most likely he doesn't have like a 1-drop in his hand. It could be like an abusive, which he's using to trade up, but besides that, most other 1-drops he won't have. This hand kind of sucks. There is a point to playing 6 or 5. Just because if we play 4, we can't play both cards out next turn, and we'll kind of get like hand stuck. Don't really want to play 5 to his face though. I kind of want to heal my my minions. I think Reckless Armor Plating might be the right play, just so you can't get the trade. I think that's fine. Sleeve is vulnerable to a lot of things, and this is why Pure Paladin does really well. It's just a really powerful counterplay.
Is this the fishing tournament? Funnel cakes! Get your funnel
That's
cakes
a lot of
here!
heal. It's a good spare part. We can tap and play 4-4 instead of playing 4-5. I think that's good. Go for that. Kinda even want like Ancient Mage, Shadow Bolt. I think it's super necessary though. Let's play out. He's already shown that he's not going to use like an Archer Protector or like even like Shattered Sun, like any buff up counterplay. So as long as he doesn't do that, it's fine. So as long as he didn't top deck something that allows him to make good trades, like this board trading is fine. This also like efficiently lets us do like 5-3 tap.
I wonder.
Let's go for value trades, smart.
Reporting for duty.
Powering up. Portals online.
So here's what I'm looking at. If we dark scale Silverhand, the only good trades you can get is 2-4, 3-3 on the 2-2. There's no great recovery. Looks like the 5-2 goes into the 4-4. 5-2 goes into 4-5, sorry. 3-3 goes back into the 5-3. Is a little bit faster than just Shadow Bolt, since Shadow Bolt just steals with the 5-2. I'll go for that. We're letting him dictate a lot of the trades. It's not really the position you ever want to be in an arena. But that's kind of what happens when your opponent uses Monster of Battle in 3. They're going to be at a pretty large edge.
Let me think.
Reporting for duty.
I must move quickly.
So we're like, once again, what we're doing, we're slowly like, we're trying to give him like slightly good trades. We want him to trade, that way we don't take face damage. So we just go
I
this.
am freed from the curse.
Clear. There's a point to killing 1-1 here. Helps play against, play around like Quartermaster or the Warhorse. This game is coming pretty close to an end. Might just be worth going face. It is a trade that he might just make himself. I think we don't have the leisure of playing around Warhorse.
Greetings from beyond the grave. Reporting for duty.
He's gonna push himself. Just gotta keep tapping. It's not really consideration to like how low we are. it's kind of just like if we don't tap, we don't get bored, and if we don't get bored, we're gonna lose slowly. Reet, thank you for the resub. Welcome back. Appreciate the 6 years, man. Drop the 1 cheese in chat. Thank you, bro. Yeah, this, I wouldn't say, I think we played pretty well. I think mostly it's just card quality that lost us the game. Can't really do much against this Paladin deck. He has 2, 4, 6, 7. Go for this. Maybe he doesn't like hit with his face. Kill 2 1-drops. Or 2 1-1s. Yeah, we just couldn't get ahead of him. That's why, and if you think about like the turn he came back, it was when we had Emperor Cobra and he played the Keeper of Voldemort. It's like he had just the 1/1, but that allowed him to trade with something that was supposed to trade up, like the Emperor Cobra. It's just very difficult to just remove every single thing the Paladin has from the board. We get like Bomber, hit here, hit face. Dread Inferno would be a dead card the entire game. I'll go for the Bomber first. I can't think of anything about what you can tap into to save us. So it didn't hit, so now we tap or else we lose. Since the 1/2 makes it.
You smell like a leopard.
Energy's over. This game's dead. There's just no way to win this. Alright, we'll play one more game. Yeah, that's definitely our worst matchup. It's Paladin and Rogue, just because they have so many ways to just out-tempo us, and that's the scariest thing for Warlock, is just taking too much face damage. And someone being ahead of the Warlock is someone who's in a pretty good spot. You gotta think that if you are taking a lot of damage, you're pretty much playing a class without a hero power. Alright, let's see if we can avoid getting mustard here.
Your soul shall be mine.
I know when that hotline blink.
That's us. Michelle Kim, thank you for the resub. Welcome back. Appreciate the 4 years. Drop the 1 cheese in chat. Appreciate that, Michelle.
Do you need a blessing?
No 2-drop in hand.
You know they handle.
No choice but to tap.
More
I'll
trade.
trade. I'll trade here just because he might Argent Protector. Generally that's the follow-up if he coins 2. So he's hero powered. That means that he most likely was going to Argent Protector to follow up. Do this. So he wouldn't coin into hero power. So I gotta keep in mind that he probably has an Argent Protector. Or it could be like a setup for the trade and then hero power into turn 3 Seal Champions, but that's a little bit less likely. Kinda like just playing Cult Master. It's good against everything except Consecration. Like, it's fine against True Silver, and if he plays like a 4-drop, it puts him in a weird spot where if it's like a Yeti, like he wants to trade here to deny us the card draw, but this trades up. And the Cult Master is not too far away from trading up. Could turn into like a 2-turn trade up, like we Dijin, and then he makes the trade and then plays a card, we Dread Infernal, finish it off. So you played a weak play here, and now we get to develop on an empty board. We could do a Saboteur Dark Bomb, we could do Jin. We just want to be able to deal with as many different situations as he can play. Like on turn 5, generally he'll play like a 4-6, or more generally he'll play something with like 6 health. Don't really enjoy having just one guy on the board. I think we'll go with the Saboteur Dark Bomb play, just so you can make more different kinds of trades with 2 guys than we could with just one. He also had a chance to play True Silver, which would be his like tempo card, and he didn't play it last turn.
Can I help you, sir?
Once again, I'd prefer to play 2 cards. And I kind of want to save Dread Infernal for if like he musters or something, just so I don't have to deal with the 1/1s. But I'm definitely making this trade since we have the small read that he has an Archer Protector. I think tap 4 is okay. I'll go for the tap 4. Like the 4/5 Yeti is not that much smaller than the Jin. Now it's a matter of what we trade. I'll trade this guy. If you think about it in this way, like what is Yeti good against? It's good against 2-drops. So it protects this guy against 2-drops. And what is it weak against? Is big guys like Golden Fist Ogre could be played here, but now we have Emperor Cobra protecting it. You kind of want your minions to work in that way, where like one covers like the weak side of the other. Three 4 seems fine. This is the way we can play the most guys, and it's the highest tempo play since this will bring out a Dread Infernal. And we want to trade a little bit. I'm gonna try to. I can't even think this is right. Excuse me. I think it's fine. Don't want to be too vulnerable against Consecration.
Reporting for duty. None may steal our secrets.
Clear this board with Boom Boom. 4/4. I think it's fine. Take less damage on the Dread Infernal, clear this board. Just want to just keep denying him counterplay. And at this point we have card advantage and board advantage. Should be a pretty easy win.
My work is paramount. Leave me alone.
Once again, 4/5 plan curve. Seems pretty easy. I'll trade for it. 2/5 is pretty low impact. Trading for Divine Shield is fine, and then we don't really want him to use 5/5 with Archer Protector or anything. Get the free kill. Yeah, that's pretty much it with Warlock. You just want to think about mana efficiency and like just early mid game board control. Those are the key things. And just don't draft a deck with too many like late game cards where you can't play out your hand, because that'll in the end lose you a lot. Because generally like the reason to draft big cards is to get a card advantage. Like you're paying you're risking a lot to get detempoed by something like Hex or Polymorph to get like a 2-for-1 for something big. And that's not really what you need as Warlock, since you have the tap and you get free cards. But yeah, that's just like that's pretty much all I want to talk about with Warlock. If you enjoyed that, like the video, and you can join us next week where I'll talk about another class. Thanks, guys.